Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks. With the Spain News Update, we'll have a look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press, and we'll also take a look at some comments that have been left on the channel in recent times by viewers. Before I begin, a big thanks to all of the people that have supported the channel in recent times, whether it's by buying me a coffee through the Super Thanks option on YouTube, my longer term supporters on Patreon, and also the channel members here on YouTube. Thank you very much for that support. Now straight into the news, and new anti-smoking laws are making headlines today in Spain because the hospitality industry is wary of a possible ban on smoking at outdoor seating areas. We would see a 40% drop in customers, they say. The ban on smoking on all bar and restaurant terraces could be closer to becoming a reality, a prospect that the hotel and catering industry does not look favorably on. It does not make sense. It would be an added effort that is not necessary to ask of the sector, defends Emilio Gallego, General Secretary of the Spanish hotel and catering industry. For him, the anti-smoking plan promoted by the Ministry of Health does not respond to a social demand, and he defends the role of the sector in the fight against smoking. Smoking is already banned in the hotel and catering industry. We have already contributed a lot. Don't ask us to make more of an effort and don't generate conflict. For him, the health initiative is a turn of the screw on the current legislation, which, in his opinion, is sufficient and could have a negative impact on many businesses. So there we go, the hotel and catering industry here in Spain worried that a ban on smoking at outdoor seating areas at bars and restaurants in this country will have effect on clientele. As we know, the health minister here in Spain, Mónica García, wants to ban smoking in these areas, but of course the final decision depends on the autonomous communities. So we'll see how this one plays out and if indeed smoking is banned at outdoor seating areas at bars and restaurants anytime soon. Now the next piece of news, and at tourist hotspots around the country, for example in the Balearic Islands and also in the Canary Islands, it's getting more and more difficult for workers on those islands to find accommodation. As we can read here, Ibiza locals living in cars as Party Island sees rents soar. Cesar Nebreda pours out a cup of coffee he has brewed on a stove in the boot of his car. The old green Kia saloon sits in the shade of a carob tree just off the main road near Ibiza town. I miss the basic things that make life comfortable, like being able to stand up in your own home, being able to cook properly, or even open a drawer and pull out some socks, he says. Those are the kinds of things that you miss out on when you live in your car. Cesar's Kia has been his home for the past 3 years. He works as a chef, but with rental costs on the Spanish island of Ibiza having spiraled, he cannot afford to live in a flat. In Ibiza, accommodation is very expensive, and it's getting more and more expensive, he says, and the cost of renting is completely out of kilter with what you earn. So living like this is an alternative. It's less comfortable, but it allows me to keep living on the island. So workers on tourist hotspots like Ibiza here in Spain finding it hard to get accommodation because it's just too expensive and they're forced to live in their cars. And a big thanks to viewer Sue for bringing this article to my attention. But Ibiza is not the only island here in Spain where people are complaining it's hard to find accommodation. Because as we can read here, the boom in holiday homes in the Canary Islands makes it difficult for residents to find a home. Looking for a flat in the Canary Islands is becoming more and more difficult, and finding one at a good price and in a central location is becoming an impossible task. Noelia is 25 years old and works as a waitress in a restaurant on the Las Canteras promenade in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. When she started looking for a flat, she saw that it was impossible to find something for herself that she could afford on her salary of 1,300 euros a month. I tried to find a flat for myself, a small studio where everything was together, but it was 700 or 800 euros, Noelia tells us. Supply is becoming increasingly limited, which means that prices are constantly rising, and several Canary Island cities are considering declaring themselves to be in a stress zone. So, the problem that many locals here in Spain are suffering at the moment, a lack of decent accommodation, affordable accommodation, especially in some some of those tourist hotspots like Ibiza that we saw in the Balearic Islands and also in Gran Canaria in the Canaries. The problem leads to a lot of complaints from young people, and this forces governments to take decisions. Like, as we saw in that last article, some of the Canary Islands considering declaring themselves in a housing stress situation. So some examples there of the problems that locals are facing in these tourist hotspots here in Spain. Now let's have a look at some of the comments that have been left on videos recently. One here from Meat Money. I'm from the US but live in Spain. Americans come to Spain and or Europe in general for the culture, history, architecture and language. If Americans want to have fun in the sun, they already have their own beaches, the Caribbean and Mexico next door. This doesn't mean that Americans don't want to get down and let loose in the old world, because they definitely do. Yeah, Meat Money, thanks for the comment and replying to the question that I posed in last night's live stream as to why more and more Americans are choosing Spain as a holiday destination and also to live here. American tourist numbers here in Spain so far this year are up on 2019 figures, and 2024 is shaping up to be a record year as far as US tourism here in Spain is concerned. And as we saw in that comment, culture, history, architecture and language are 4 reasons why people from the United States like to visit Spain. Another one here from Anthony. Why I visit Spain as an American are historical monuments, weather, safety, low cost of goods and services. Yeah, Anthony, thanks for the comment and thanks for giving us the reasons that you like to visit Spain. And I'm sure that one of the things that you mentioned there, safety, is one of the main reasons why people visit Spain in their droves, because let's be honest, compared with some countries around the world, Spain is fairly safe. In most parts of the country, you can walk down any city street without having to look over your shoulder, and that's a pro. One here from Paula the Mechanic. I'm American. I've worked for 50 years and will be retired soon. Did everything I was supposed to do to be able to enjoy my golden years. I wish I could stay in the States, but I can't afford the taxes and healthcare on my retirement income, so I have no choice but to leave. Everything I worked for to enjoy was for nothing. Now I have to sell everything and move at an old age. One hospital here in the States and I could lose everything. I know many other Americans in the same situation. Now you know why we're leaving. Yeah, Paula, thanks for the comment and thanks for giving us another point of view on why people are moving out of the United States. Some people just can't afford to retire there, especially given the taxes and the cost of healthcare. And as Paula also points out, one trip to hospital in the US and she could lose everything. But of course, here in Spain with universal healthcare, that is not something that people are worried about, because it doesn't matter who you are, where you are from, or how much money you have. If you pay into the Spanish healthcare system, they take care of you. One here from Stephen. Hi Stu, on the subject of smoking, I'm all for banning it on the terraces. The reason why is because in Spain, most people are eating on terraces because the weather is so lovely. I just don't like having someone sitting close to me smoking their cigarette, and even worse, the vape. When you're in the UK, most people are eating indoors. Obviously, there's no smoking. So as an ex-smoker, I don't mind anybody smoking if that's what they want to do. It's going to be a difficult one. Keep up the good work, Stu. Yeah, Stephen, thanks for the comment, and maybe you're right, banning smoking at outdoor seating areas here in Spain at bars and restaurants will be a difficult thing to achieve, but I thought it would be difficult to ban smoking inside bars and restaurants back in the day, and I was proven wrong. In fact, when that law came into effect many years ago now, I was surprised at just how quickly people adapted to the new situation. And I imagine that most people will also adapt to the new rules and regulations when it comes to prohibiting smoking at outdoor seating areas. One here from Jeff. Spain is safer than the US, better healthcare, more stable political leaders, and damn, the food and wine is great. Yeah, Jeff, thanks for the comment and thanks for giving us some of the reasons that you like Spain. And an interesting point about Spain having more stable political leaders than in the United States. And if that is the case, things must be pretty bad there. One here from Helen. Prices, heck yes, inflation everywhere. But how is it calculated per supermarket? Single product prices? For example, both Carrefour and Supercore offer 3 for 2 deals. etc. Yeah, Helen, thanks for the comment, and this is a story that we looked at in yesterday's live stream about supermarket prices here in Spain and the price increases over the last 4 years from 2020 to 2024. And I think the top 7 supermarkets in this country have increased prices between 32 and 37% over that period. And I think it was just the basic price comparison, taking prices from 2020 on certain products and comparing the price of that same product in supermarkets now. And yes, inflation is a huge problem still, and a lot of people are doing it tough at the moment because of the high prices, let's be honest. And the final comment here from Bob: worried about supplying photo and fingerprints to enter a country? Don't try going to the USA. The entry visa, ESTA, requires both photo and fingerprints, and on arrival, immigration officials physically checked by actually taking another photo and fingerprint for comparison. Yeah, Bob, thanks for the comment, and this comment in reply to another comment that was left on the channel recently by somebody who was saying that he is going to boycott Spain, not come back to Spain because of new visa requirements that are going to be brought in this year. I think that's what he said. And this person was irate that he would have to give his fingerprints and get his photo taken as a requirement to enter the EU. But as Bob points out there, the United States is just as bad. And let's be honest about this, no doubt in the near future, more countries around the world will make it more difficult for people to enter, given the amount of security concerns we currently have in this fantastic world we live in. But hey, that's just my opinion. On that note, I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. If you have anything to add to the conversation today, the comment section is the place for you. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.